Now, the sin of sloth, an important sin in the life of INFJs, not necessarily a sin that you see as much in some other types. And when I say important, in this particular case, I actually tend to, maybe this will be a challenging notion for you, but I tend to think that the sin of sloth is a good sin and there should be more of it in the life of INFJs. Understand, not necessarily, I'm not speaking for people who are not INFJs, but people who are INFJ, I think need sloth in their life. And if you don't have enough of sloth, you could get in trouble. Now, I do need to unpack this a little bit. So let's get started. You see, INFJs are often compliant. And when you're compliant, you're not slothful because you're complying with what you believe the expectations of the wider society or the wider group are. And when you're not actively complying, you're often spending lots of time thinking about how you can fit in, how you can behave in ways that ratify your presence, legitimize your presence, your existence, validate it at some level just so that you have the right to, be a functioning member of society, be an acceptable member of society. You suffer from your difference, which is why you conceal it, you conceal your NI subjectivity. You repress it, and you're simultaneously painfully aware that this act of concealment can never be fully realized. But what I mean to say by this is that the insecurely leaning INFJ, and that's probably the majority of INFJs, are highly strong, okay? Psychologically highly strong, sometimes emotionally highly strong, and what makes them highly strong is ultimately this lack of sync between the kind of life they're leading and the inner phenomenology of their NI world. Here we're brought back to the idea of the NI world as oceanic, as fuzzy, as continuous, a little bit formless, following its own kind of moods and storms and calms, and the outer world, the world outside of the psyche, as regimented, right? Social world, rules, norms, principles, and so on. If the more out of sync you are, as an INFJ, the less oceanic that you are, the more out of sync you are, the more stressed you're going to be, the more highly strung. And so in a sense, I don't want to say unhealthy. I only want to use this kind of medical vocabulary when it's like, when there's no alternative and it's really justified. But we could say you're not thriving. You're not thriving. You're not securing a place of inner peace and inner satisfaction and outer accomplishments. You are pulled in two directions at once, psychologically, and you are in this constant state of tension. The insecure leaning INFJ can be depicted as being in this constant state of tension. Someone who is in a constant state of tension, someone who's highly strong, someone who's constantly thinking about, what to do, what to anticipate, and so forth. That's not a slothful person. They need more sloth in their lives. Make sloth great again, And interestingly, in the first version, the first anime version of the Full Metal Alchemist series, so not in Brotherhood, the first Full Metal Alchemist, very appropriately, I thought, the character of Sloth changes into water, is able to change into water. So you have water, ocean, sloth, right? There is this sense of ponderousness and immutability, unchangeability, or slowness, you know, taking its time. NI takes its time. You could actually make the point that NI is by essence slothful. It gets to certain conclusions, but at its own pace, and at a pace that sometimes does not seem to match the pace of regimented reality, which is another way of describing why it's hard to INFJs to feel like they fit in the world. And if you want to know more about this, you should get my book, The Infinite Soul, on INFJ life in the modern world. The first link below to this book. Get it if you haven't yet. So yes, there needs to be more sloth, and those INFJs that I've come across, either personally or, you know, well-known INFJs that have done well, that seem to be at peace with themselves and to be assertive in their own way. They all seem to have that quality of, it's like a slothful vibe. Doesn't mean that they're bored. It doesn't mean that they're lazy. Doesn't mean that they're bored. It's just a vibe, you know. It's just a vibe. The vibe is a little slothful. It's usually a sign that there is more integration between the oceanic NI world and the outer world, more synchronizing, and more of a medium for making interstices apparent and seizing them, than if there is no sloth. Okay? That's a little bit counterintuitive, but hopefully you got what I meant. Guys, give me a like if you enjoyed the vid. We still have to cover anger and envy, so we'll be doing that in the next couple of days. And don't forget that I have a Patreon page which you can join to support me. It's down below. Please consider it, because I could not do this without you, and I need you more than ever. For only a few bucks a month, you can go a long way toward helping to keep this channel going, and you get access to cool perks like the Discord server, our Discord server, the Fourfold, as well as bonus video content every 2-3 weeks. And finally, don't forget about the Ecstatic Soul, which is my first book on the INFJ, on the INFJ mind, what the INFJ is existentially like, INFJ consciousness. It's the deepest look into that, and it's the book that put my name on the map, so you should definitely get it at the link below if you haven't yet. Okay, see you guys tomorrow. Take care.